The following podcast contains explicit language.
Hello, and welcome to Alcohol You Later, or what my mom likes to call a complete waste of my potential. Alcohol You Later is a lively discussion about wine and spirits. I'm your host, Bobby Hougham, and I'm here with Elyas Beria.
Don't tell me what I put my hand where it goes.
And Chris Price.
Silencio de caballo.
Today we have a special guest, someone we've been eagerly trying to get on the show for a while now, and it looks like the planets have just aligned. Danny Ronen from Shaker and Spoon will be joining us to discuss sparkling wine-based cocktails just in time for the warming weather. The guys are going to bring a couple of options of sparkling wines, and that could possibly be some fun alternatives. Thanks for listening in. It was good to know you. Today is another of our COVID-19 episodes. After 4 episodes of this new normal, hopefully we're getting this a bit dialed in. Full disclosure, this isn't going to be as polished as our normal episodes, but it does reflect the new norm. We're each recording from our own homes using video conferencing to see each other, and we have sent each other samples of the bottles we are talking about. Please help us get it right and send us feedback on our Facebook or Instagram at AYL the podcast, or there is an email link on our website at alcoholu.com. I don't know about you guys, but I'm at a point where I'm rearranging my furniture daily now.
That sounds super boring. I'm having the time of my life.
Time of your life?
Of my life.
Why?
I mean, something.
My wife. Take my wife.
Take my wife. Take my life, please.
My wife.
Amazing thing happened to me the other day when I was commuting.
What was it? It was amazing?
It was amazing. I was going from my bedroom. I was commuting from my bedroom to my kitchen.
Oh my God! You have to commute to your kitchen?
Yeah, it's a long track.
Brutal, man.
It's a long track. I dressed up for it, and meaning I dressed for it. And
did you check traffic before you went?
I did. I checked my phone, and my son was in his room, so I knew it was safe. So I was heading down the hallway. I almost made it to the kitchen when I realized that I haven't seen anyone but my family for a month, and I went insane. That's it.
So
I don't know if you've seen The Shining, but it was sort of like that.
Here's Elyas. I've been, you see these like things on Instagram and other stuff that's like, oh, COVID cooking, like gotta like do my chic cooking thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Mine's not chic at all. It's all just gross.
Wait, you've been cooking?
I've been cooking. It's all bad. It's been like
what?
Pasta again. Cool. What do I got in the fridge? I don't know.
But you
Let's
guys,
try out this.
you hand make your own pasta, right?
No, not right now. We don't. No.
So you went from, I know that you used to make your pasta, but you went from that to just not making pasta, because what else are you doing?
I'm just boiling some dried noodles, dude. Listen, toss them in there, boil them up.
So everybody else is going the other direction. You are actually getting more processed. Everybody else is going to homemade everything.
Yeah, I mean, mixing a little goat cheese, tossing some lemon, put in some like basil. I don't know. I just tossed. That sounds pretty good. Stuff. It wasn't that good. It was not very good.
What else have you been making?
What else did I make? I made, we tried to make bread. Tried to make some...
You tried to make bread?
Tried to make some...
What'd you put in it?
Sourdough bread. Had a sourdough starter.
Yeast.
Yeah.
Some wild yeast.
Ooh. The first try at it was Second try, real good. But the first try was just like undercooked, doughy. Paul Hollywood would not have been impressed.
Did you put hair in it?
Shout out to haircake.com.
Oh, please.
Don't Google that.
Go to
Do
that.
not. Well, I know we have somebody really cool on the show today. Let's get into it.
Right on. Today's episode is brought to you by Lisa Mattress, where you get 100-night trial.
100-night trial?
And free shipping.
Wow.
That's incredible.
I mean, they just like packaged up. That thing's heavy.
They must have tons of mattresses just laying around and waiting to be shipped
I don't think
out.
they do. They make them to order.
To order?
To order, you say?
What?
I'm not kidding. Like, you order it, they make it. Like,
Then
it's not sitting
they
around.
just take an entire mattress and just put it in a giant box?
I don't know, something like that. That's what I imagine.
So what happens when you get it?
Oh my God, it's such joy when you unwrap one of those.
I can't believe this.
Wow. I know, isn't it incredible?
What if you are an incredibly messy sleeper like me? Do they sell any products on their site that help you?
You're a messy sleeper.
They do. They have a mattress protection cover.
Mattress protection
It'll
cover.
absorb all the liquids that you excrete when you're sleeping.
That is, I'm overwhelmed. I'm crying.
Well, that's why they
You're
got
kinda sweaty.
over 13,000 5-star reviews.
Wow, that is a lot of messy people.
It's a lot of messy people.
That's
It's
a lot
because of that messy
happy,
protector.
messy people. Free shipping, made to order,
Here in the U.S.
made in the U.S.
Return it whenever you want.
What are you
Up to
doing?
100 days.
Go to alcoholu.com and click on the Lisa banner right now.
I'm clicking.
Click now. Hey guys, let's welcome Danny Ronen, who is a partner and curator at Shaker and Spoon. I'm so glad to see you on this show, Donnie. We've been talking for so long about this, and the COVID hasn't exactly played nice with us either.
Well, at least we know where to find one another now, so that makes it easier.
It's true.
We're always here now, yeah.
We
and
live
thank
in
you
the
so
cloud.
much for coming on. We really appreciate having you on, Donnie.
Donnie. It's Donnie.
I did it.
I know.
I did it.
He spells it Danny, but it's actually Donnie. What's the story behind that?
It's a soft A.
Well,
Yeah.
my full name is Daniel, so when you shorten it, it's still with an A. But it's like my parents were like, well, we don't want to go D-A-N-I because then people think it's a girl's name. But so we're going to spell it D-A-N-N-Y since there's already a million people who know that spelling and that pronunciation, and it's different than what we're going to do. So whenever somebody's like, oh, I'm really sorry, I'm like, I don't blame you. I blame my parents. You're good.
That's right. I blame my parents for a lot of things.
My name's actually pronounced Christ, like instead of the normal phonetic pronunciation.
Like Christmas.
Yeah, like Christmas.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Price. Jesus Christ.
No, that's just what they say whenever they're talking to you. Jesus Christ.
Actually,
Jesus Christ. This
I
fucker.
do have a friend named Christ because his family's Greek, and it's short for Christos.
Right.
He lives here, and like legit. People call him Chris, but it's Christ.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
That is Christ. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
My middle name is Beelzebub. Not many people know that.
I feel like it's a really good fit for you.
Thank you. Oh, that's so sweet. I feel like we know each other already.
So let me ask a few questions. If you're a cocktail guy, why are we doing bubbly?
Well, we're doing bubbly.
Donnie.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I should be yelled at for that. It's a whole thing. So we're doing bubbly because we're talking about a very specific box that's coming out next month in June, which is a bubbly cocktail box. So there's an easy transition there. But I mean, at the end of the day, before I was into cocktails, I loved wine. It was my sort of first passion. My family doesn't really imbibe, and
wine was a gateway drug.
Wine was a gateway drug. One of my best friends in college, her dad was an editor at Bon Appetit for many years regarding wine and spirits, and so I was exposed to that fairly young. 18, but still got to taste things that an 18-year-old would not have been able to taste. And so that was definitely a lot of drove me earlier into trying new things all the time. And so that was pretty fun. But at the end of the day, bubbly is a very easy thing to talk about when talking about cocktails, because as opposed to people just drinking, wine at home, they think cocktails is more of the thing that you have out. Mm-hmm. I mean, now everybody's drinking everything. Matter, but they think of cocktails as something you have out, and wine you can have either at home or out. And
I don't know if you heard, I don't know if you checked out season 1 at all, but I get up every morning before I go for my morning run, and I literally pound an entire bottle of wine before I head out the door. And it's like, people think I'm joking when I do that, and it's not an illness or anything. It's just common practice. It's what you should do. But I totally get that. Gateway drug, whatever, morning drink. That's what I like to call
Listen,
it.
Electrolytes.
Here's the thing. Regardless of whether or not you're on quarantine, I think it's really important to have a schedule, and I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. See, that's what I keep on.
So sweet.
Nobody else is really proud of me. The intervention didn't really go well, but because try to catch me, suckers! I run every day on a bottle of wine.
Routines keep us healthy. So
True.
I did the formerly known as the California AIDS ride, the AIDS life cycle for many years, a bike ride from the Bay Area, from San Francisco to LA. There were people on that ride who were chain smokers.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
I'm like, dude, how are you doing that? But I feel like they'd be worse if they're already smokers. They would be worse off if they just stopped for the ride.
Right.
No, I have my morning cigarette with my coffee, and then I have this one in between mile 60 and 65, and then
it keeps the heart pumping.
I just want to say this show does not give out medical advice. Please, if you're listening, do not listen to us.
It doesn't. Also, if you want to hear about what diseases Bobby thinks are funny, things are funny and aren't funny, you can hear that out season 1, episode 9.
That's
I believe.
right.
Yep,
episode something. Yeah.
Well,
the one other thing about
so I want to divert into. Sorry, Bobby. I actually had a quick question that's serious.
Ooh.
And that was you guys do, and as a part of Shaker and Spoon and a part of the boxes as you're getting them going, I think you guys must have booming business, because of COVID right now. It just must be blowing up for you because everybody wants to be able to make cool stuff at home. You're like bored as hell. I'm bored as hell. But you guys procure, like, your supply chain to these products that you're putting with the boxes must be a little bit difficult because you're curating really nice products inside of here.
there is so much work that goes into every box. Now, we're going to use the term box and kit. They're not interchangeable. The boxes are the monthly subscription boxes that come first week of every month. So subscribers get those, and every month there's a different base spirit. And the box itself has no booze in it. The box comes with everything but. So all you need is the box itself and a 750 of whatever the base is, and you can make all 12 cocktails in the box. There are three drinks by 3 different bartenders around the world, and enough ingredients to make each one 4 times. So
how do
3
you
times 4.
how do you select a world-class bartender?
It differs all the time, but you know, most of them are people that I've known or worked with, and I know them to be very skilled, great palates, professional, and a lot of them have something to say through their creation.
And if they give you free drinks, bam, world-class bartender, you're in.
That's what makes you world-class. No, they're just usually people who I've had definitely some of my favorite bartenders and great friends who have been the featured bartenders in the boxes.
Cool.
And it's been a pleasure to be able to have someone who I know so good at their job to be able to share that with tens of thousands of people. So it's really exciting. It's very fun. The supply chain thing is always difficult no matter what, because regardless of what's happening right now, there are a bunch of different vendors around the country who make incredible products, but we need to send out tens of thousands of them. And so we need to find someone who's A, making great product, B, has the same sort of mission ethos we do, where, you know, everything in here is, you know, 100% post-consumer recyclable. And we really want to work with other companies that are trying to reduce the carbon footprint, which is this very difficult balance when we're taking something and sending it out to a bunch of people.
You have a very handsome box.
Thank you. People tell me that often.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be talking about somebody else's box other than Chris's all the time.
I'm just happy that we finally have something to even out our carbon footprint, because this podcast is run 100% on fossil fuels and coal.
100%.
So it's nice to have an offset. So an offset's good.
I feel like I can. I mean, I'm only about 900 miles from you, but I feel like I can smell it burning from here.
Yeah,
likely. Yeah.
Are farts a fossil fuel? I didn't know.
So
I don't know.
So this month is all about sparkling wine. We have for this episode we have a whole mess of different sparkling wines to try, and one of the things that we're going to do is try a sparkling wine cocktail.
Yeah.
Are you guys crackling?
all
Are you
made?
Are you hearing audio crackle?
I'm crackling, motherfucker. No, I don't hear anything.
Okay.
Bobby's like synonymous with he can hear any audio.
Bobby's like,
deficiency.
guys, I think we need to scrap all of the last season because I was listening and there was a hum
faint murmur.
on frequency 5.38 megahertz. There was a flutter.
Listen, I know you guys can't probably pick it up, but somebody's going to, and then when they do, we are fucked.
Elyas, there's a dog across the street from you that was whining, and it's over. If anybody hears that, nobody will respect us.
That sounds exactly like the family Passover Seder via Zoom that I had, where there was
oh, really? Oh, yeah.
constant dog barking. I was like, look, you're the moderator. Just mute that box. Just mute that little square so that we can move on.
Please.
Well, you should have had Bobby on that.
So let's talk a little bit about your cocktail that we're making here.
Let's talk about the cocktail, That we
got
made it. It's here.
The one that you guys are having now is created by Suzu, is his nickname. He is a bartender in San Francisco. He created this really beautiful cocktail. The whole box for June is Saint Germain Spritz. Now, this is something that we decided as a team to do. This was not something that, Saint Germain came to us and said, hey, we want to do this. It's like, we wanted to do it because it's Saint Germain elderflower liqueur. For those who aren't familiar with it, it's fairly ubiquitous. It's very well made, 28% ABV, and releasing it in June was kind of a fun thing anyway. It's the beginning of summer, and the actual elderflower are at their peak when they're picked summer solstice. Mm-hmm. So like on the equinox. So all these things sort of just came together. This drink that we're having is something that Suzu created that was an homage to his Japanese heritage. And he made nerigoma, which is a black sesame honey syrup. And he changed it a little from like the traditional way you make it so that it could balance more in the cocktail. Mm-hmm. But you can really taste that, like that earthy, nutty thing that sesame will bring to a drink. And it's just this beautiful, it's kind of unbelievable that there isn't that it's either A, not too sweet, or B, that it hasn't, it doesn't really need a base spirit to make it shine. It just has.
It's a remarkable cocktail.
Yeah.
It's super interesting.
Yeah, the nuttiness, the earthiness, it's a really not something that you would typically find in a cocktail. And you're right, it's not very sweet at all. It's really, despite the nutty earthiness, it does feel like a spring, early summer sort of cocktail, lighter.
It has a nice little tang to it that kind of also helps cut through that sort of sesame earthiness. And that like sort of elevates it and makes it a little bit lighter on the top notes. It's really interesting. I want my anonymous wife to taste this. I'm going to have to call her over so she can get some.
Anonymous wife?
The anonymous.
Well, I never know if I'm supposed to say her name or not. So
anonymous wife.
Normally the garnish would be macroot lime leaf. Does that? But again, it's whatever we can get our hands on right now.
Right.
Yeah.
For the show.
I think we found some here for like $99 a pound or something like that.
Oh yeah. Buy two.
Jemiah had some for it was $99 a pound. So I was like,
bought them all.
You're like, how much
lemongrass
is one leaf? Can I just get one leaf?
Right.
Minimum 1 pound. Minimum purchase 1 pound. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
That's it. So this is actually really refreshing because most of the things that we usually taste first on this show smell and taste like shit. And so this is fantastic. I'm like so happy to actually drink something that I enjoy. It's nice.
Listen, although I'm sorry to sort of mess up your regular format, I'm happy to help.
It's important to stay to routine, you were saying, but at least it kind of looks like sewage water.
Oh, that's true.
It's a very interesting color, so we can sort of pretend.
So,
actually,
but
it's crazy when you mix.
It tastes ethereal.
When you mix it, when you do the double strain on it, and when the the mixer hits the Chandon, it's cool because it kind of creates this like weird murky like little puddle and then starts to froth. Yeah, it's really neat.
Yeah.
My son was watching me do it and he was like, "What on earth are you about to drink?" Wouldn't you like?
Yeah, the Nerigoma is really an interesting ad. I've never even heard of it, and this is the first time I've tried it, obviously, and it's really, it really is an interesting ad to this cocktail. And I love Saint Germain.
I immediately Googled it and was like, "Where can I get this? I need to buy some of this stuff right now."
This was easy because what I wanted to do was get you guys some of the ingredients to put together so you could do the drink at home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the boxes everything is made right before they ship out, which means they'll be made first week of June and sent out. So Suzu lives near me, and so I was able to get a batch of the syrup to send to you. And that's why we chose this cocktail to just make it a little bit easier. But I feel like it's one of those ingredients that is going to be in the Make More store after, because people are going to ask for it after the box is done.
Oh yeah,
people are going to ask for it again and again and again.
Oh, of course.
But the other drinks in the box, one of them has a blueberry cinnamon syrup, which is incredible. And the other one is a garden shrub. It's like spring in a bottle. You put that with that one is actually sparkling water and Saint Germain. Incredible. It's like 3 incredible drinks from 3 amazing bars.
I like these like low proof cocktail ideas. Like, I mean, the only downside is it's going to take me a lot of these to get fucked up, a little drunk. But
not if you're simultaneously drinking a fifth
whiskey.
of bourbon.
That's right. Actually, I'm 100% right. So I
life is all about balance. So
yeah, it's so true. It's so true. I think you're right. This is delicious.
It is delicious.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And for our listeners, if you're interested in this, you would have to just go to shakerandspoon.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
Shakerandspoon.com and place your order, because they do come out the beginning of the month. And I would highly recommend that we get in there, and I'm going to go order this.
I'm definitely going to be ordering this. I'm looking for something to do with my 3-year-old and mixing cocktails early. It just sounds like a good way to go. A good thing to get started on. You know what I mean? Like, who wants to make those
many
themselves?
of my friends and colleagues watched Mad Men, and I never did until recently. And so, I knew that it was sort of like the last time that people were drinking classics before like the 70s and 80s hit of like a bunch of prefab garbage. And so, they were talking about old fashions and Gibsons and Rob Roys and Stingers and all these things that like people started asking about at bars because of the show. And we're like, you want a Stinger?
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't touched that creme de menthe in God knows how long. Let's do it. But I just watched it recently, and I think my favorite part is when he has the kids making cocktails. And, like, people come over, I'm like, she's 6. And she's making a pretty badass old-fashioned with Canadian Club. Congratulations.
That's the way to do it.
Oh, man. Yeah, you got to get them started early, I tell you.
Understood.
That way they'll never want to drink one because they just associate it with work.
Right, exactly. It works out for you. It works out for them later.
It's win-win all around. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? You're starting them off light with the low ABV drink, so it's fine.
Until child protective services shows up, then you got some explaining to do.
Yeah.
Well, actually, in Washington you don't, because it's in your own home. Yeah, there's a rule there. It's like glug glug.
I'll take legal advice from Chris Price and see how that turns out.
I don't recommend it. How funny. Wow. But in all seriousness, I love the fact that there's 12 cocktails worth of material. Thank you for getting us the syrup and getting this to make our own for this next upcoming month's cocktail, because this is delicious. But the fact that you do have we could basically, I could have a couple cocktails one night, and then I'll be able to do it again over the next weekend or 2. And then by the time you're there, the next box is already on its way. Here we are. New box.
That's so cute, Chris.
What's that?
That's so cute how you lie on air, because you know that you would just make the entire box in about 2 hours.
It's probably true. But I really like this idea of being able to then sort of, you can carry through, and you start to build your own little bar of mixers or things you want to do to make any kind of cocktail you can think of. It's
well,
cool.
and it's also like once we
really
get
cool.
back from the whole COVID isolation period, it's a good way to gather a group of friends together and just
Try
experiment.
something.
Look at what I learned.
Yep.
Yeah.
A little show and tell.
So Donnie,
Go ahead.
tell me a little bit about the curating. You were talking about your day and whatnot. I'm just kind of curious, like how does the whole curating thing work out for you? Like what's involved in that?
So, I mean, right now we have planned through mid 2021 of what the boxes are going to be, and some of them, I mean, at the end of the day, all of them need to be curated conceptually first, and then we have to make sure that like once the recipes come in, we have everybody do 2 concepts now instead of just 1, because we might not be able to fit somebody's, like all 3 of the people's concepts in to 1 box. We don't do squeezed lemon, lime, grapefruit. We have the actual fruit in there because a lot of times the peel and the expression of the oils on the drink is part of the drink, and it allows people to get some really fresh produce and squeeze it at home, as opposed to a pasteurized juice, which is just not gonna play as well. But it's really fun to like open it up and have one thing that's a shaken citrus cocktail, one thing that's a built drink, one thing that's a stir drink. It also sort of mixes it up for the end user to not have a bunch of things that are similar. So all the drinks are different flavor-wise, different builds, and it changes every month. So people who subscribe for a year, which a lot of people do, if there's a spirit that, let's say, for example, mezcal comes around, they're like, honestly, I've tried mezcal so many times, I can't do it. They can skip that month, and then it extends their membership for an additional month. And then that way they don't have to get something they don't want. Or they can request something from the store that like we still have from a previous month. They're like, I love the speed rack box. Can I get that one again?
Oh, that's cool.
They could go on the community and get a suggestion for something to use other than mezcal.
Absolutely. That happens all the time. Some people are skipping a lot less now because those recommendations are available. I do like tequila. Will these drinks work with tequila? Yes, they will. They'll also work with pisco. They'll also work with cognac. Sure.
Or Everclear. I'm going to join the community and start giving recommendations, and I'm just going to be like,
yes.
You could use Everclear.
Every drink works with Everclear, so you're not really narrowing it down.
So, Donnie, you sent us the Etoile.
Oh, Bobby. Oh, Bobby, what a pronunciation.
You did good there, my friend. I can't wait until our new segment. Little preview right here.
Hey, Bobby,
you guys didn't even plan that out, but it worked out so well for your existing
Bobby, it's a new electronic wine company. It's called eToil. And what they
eToil.
eToil. Yeah. It's eToil. It's like people toil in the mines.
So what are we doing? Are we doing the Etoile now?
Yeah, let's try that.
I just thought it would be fun.
Donnie just went for the Chandon.
Share a few different things,
right? So should we do the regular Chandon now? Is that what you've moved on to, Donnie?
I don't know about you, but I have 3 glasses ready to go, so we can do all of them at the same time.
Okay.
Hey.
Yeah. I just got to keep track of which glass is which.
The recommendation that was made by the bartenders was the Domaine Chandon, the Brut. Partially because, in general, it's for the Saint Germain Spritz box. Everyone's going to be going to get Saint Germain anyway, and so since they're getting a sparkling wine, it should be something that is dry, fairly easy to get your hands on. They're doing a lot of these companies are doing really cool things like free shipping. When you get it directly through them. And wine companies can do that, whereas liquor companies can't in most states. They can do DTC, direct to consumer.
Right.
So they've been a delight also. As soon as I called them up and said, hey, the bartenders recommended the Brut, they were like, great, how can we help make sure that people can access it from wherever?
And who doesn't have Saint-Germain on hand all the time anyway? Pretty much everybody does.
Yes. Oh, look at you with your French pronunciation. You French fries.
I mean, Saint-Germain, that's the way it's Saint-Germain. Sans Germain?
Yeah, I mean,
Bobby, that's
cheers,
a little
guys,
spoiler for you. Oh yeah, cheers.
All right, cheers. So we're having now the regular Domaine Chandon, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I actually was experimenting with the cocktail, so I used all of my Brut. So I'm using the Blanc de Noir.
Okay.
Which is also really fantastic.
Okay, so I'm tasting
I'm
tasting the Chandon right now. I
love your glassware.
Oh, thanks. You know, I'm kind of the wine. I'm the wine snob of the bunch, by the way. I definitely only drink quality wines in quality glasses.
For the record,
Understood.
most wine professionals will tell you to drink sparkling wine out of a regular wine glass.
Really?
If you have a set of like champagne flutes at home, you'll want to take those and just dump them right into the garbage.
I have this champagne
useless.
flute that has the stem of it tilts into your mouth, and you just pour the champagne in and it just shoots into your mouth.
I told you, because that was your enema vial. Don't stop drinking out of that, dude.
Yeah. By the way, that's actually where the Everclear comes in handy. You're gonna.
There you go.
Yeah, that's so true.
Everclear enemas is basically where Chris is moving to once the alcohol stops taking effect.
I heard this is a great way to go.
We could do a separate show whenever you want on
Nope,
that.
we're doing it on this one. It's happening.
It's happening right now.
Okay.
So
it's funny, like we
Chandon
used to.
pretty sweet.
Sorry, what you have the Brut?
This is the Brut. It does. It has a touch of sweetness to it.
got sweetness to it, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, Brut does not necessarily mean like extra
dry.
Brut. Generally, is the dry one, or if you get a Brut Nature, which usually doesn't have any dosage, but Brut will typically have a touch of sweetness to it, and this one is definitely showing.
I mean, if you were to take this next to, like, a Cremant, I love Cremant as far as sparkling wines go, because it gives you that. It's because it gives you the Frenchiness, and the funny thing is with Chandon and some of the sparkling wine houses here in Napa, a lot of them are doing Méthode Champenoise, and so you're going to get a little like that tinge of sort of yeasty, but it's very hard to recreate that. I mean, fresh bakery that you get off of champagne.
Well, yes, and part of that also has to do with sort of production volume. Like if you, I don't know, want to take a wild guess at how many bottles of Domaine Chandon Brut are produced a year. I don't know if you have those figures, but it's here. I know how many cases. I'm going to do a little math here. Times 12. 6 million bottles of Domaine Chandon Brut alone produced a year. So, I mean, 6 million bottles on that scale, it's hard to, their main goal is putting out a consistent product.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to work in some of those qualities that make it more interesting, like a grower champagne, some of that, the yeastiness and the sort of complexity, this for the amount that they produce is pretty good. But, if I had my druthers, I would go for a smaller producer and, have something that is a little more interesting. But if you were to recommend some sort of really interesting small production sparkling wine, chances are 70% of your customers probably wouldn't be able to find it. That's just how it is.
Right.
Whereas Domaine Chandon is in pretty much every supermarket across America. So
at the very minimum, at least like nice markets, right? So
sure,
because you'll still find some wacky stuff out there that people are even still call champagne. I'm not going to call out any brand names or anything, but they'll say champagne, and you're like, I barely even want to call this thing sparkling wine. Whereas, as to Elyas's point, to have something. I've done a lot of work with national accounts, which I love to do, because being able to move the needle just a little bit with something like Cheesecake Factory or CPK or something like that, to be able to to broaden somebody's horizons that hadn't tried, this flavor or this type of spirit before. I mean, wow, what an amazing thing to be able to do. But you have to be able to find that balance between, okay, this product is great, but there's also enough of it that can go into this national account where they're never going to run out. Or for the example of the shaker and spoon boxes, it has to be available where people can find it. If not, they'll find a replacement. They'll figure out what the alternative might be. But at the end of the day, if a lot of them can get their hands on something and we really like it, great. Yeah. Good job.
Done.
So cruising through to the next segments here.
What's the next?
So here's what we typically do. Donnie, just so you have a heads up of how this is going to work. So Elyas and I usually will rock, paper, scissors to find out who goes first, and then we all taste it. Then we get an opportunity ourselves to talk about our wine, what we brought, what the ins and outs of it are, why we like it, why we don't like it, all that kind of stuff. And then usually that's when Elyas just lets both shotgun barrels go to my face, and then vice versa. So, but I'm sure there's some things we can tie in here as we go along, because I know that we're going to have a couple of things that we're going to bring up here that you're going to be dying to try. You're going to be like, this is going in the next shaker and spoon box. It'll be my way, I think.
Nice.
That's just me. I lined up 6 bottles of sparkling wine and champagne here, so
he's ready,
I'm
man.
ready to go.
You're ready
to go.
Cool.
So Elyas and Chris, why don't you guys draw really quickly? Draw on a piece of paper.
Draw?
A hand, a rock, or scissors.
Let me do a drawing.
Do a drawing, and then we'll do a 3, 2, 1, and you'll throw it up at the air. All right.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
Throw it up at the monitor. 3, 2, 1.
Rock.
I think I win because this definitely takes care of that.
Yeah, your rocks definitely suffer there, Chris.
I don't know who won.
Still win.
I don't know.
I feel like I win.
I think Chris won.
I sort of have a feeling that whatever's happening here has nothing to do with cabin fever. This is like the huge.
This is so the huge. This is so the huge.
Which is the huge. Let me just get the rest of this here.
All right, Chris.
So Chris's bottle.
Let's get your swill over with.
Chris, why don't you tell us what we're drinking?
You guys,
At least he's open-minded, so that's nice.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I'd be a fool not to bring a sparkling wine from the Loire region. Thank you very much.
I'm actually glad.
Just because I love Gamay so much and I am sort of a whore for Chenin Blanc doesn't mean that I'm not going to be willing to venture outside the boundaries of that French region. But once again, here we are.
You've drank nothing but Loire Gamay for like the last 12 episodes.
I have to tell you,
with a little bit of Beaujolais thrown in.
Being in quarantine has made my eating habits start to really suck. So those are definitely not going really well.
No.
And I've just been drinking a lot more. So at this point, I think I just have like Gamay flavored cottage cheese pumping through my veins.
Well, can you hold up your bottle and show the camera?
So,
show us
Bobby,
what we're drinking there.
How would you pronounce that? Just the name of the vineyard.
Cremant?
The producer. No, the producer.
Brise?
Dude,
that's pretty good.
That's not too bad.
He did butcher a toile, but
Cremant
he got.
de la Loire.
That's terrible, Chris.
I know it really is. I don't speak French. I don't claim to.
This is nice. This has a nice...
go ahead.
I was just moving on to the wine. This has a nice slaty, minerally, cool nose to it.
You know me. I love a dry, mineral, kind of... It's... I don't know. I actually don't love those things very much, and Elyas, this is where usually it gives me a bad time. So... The Chateau de Braise, where this is actually made, there's a massive... In fact, I need to get some photos of this so I can send it to you guys. There is a massive medieval castle that sits above this. And it's pretty cool. I can see Elyas going to look it up right now. This is Chenin Blanc Chardonnay. So 75% Chenin Blanc, which I'm never going to complain about, and 25% Chardonnay. Definitely organic methods, indigenous yeasts to the region. But outside of that, it's really, I can't say it's a natural wine. I can't say it's like it falls within the realm of what we would call naturally produced, but it is organic. And I think it's crisp. I like it.
I like it too.
It's a chalky sparkler.
It is.
Kind of chalky.
I think I would drink this all day. I think it tastes great.
I'm gonna be drinking it the rest of the day.
Yeah, it has a really nice. It has like a little bit of lime pith.
It does.
Sort of, bitterness to it, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And it's super minerally. It just tastes, like you said, chalky.
I love that.
Yeah,
I do.
It's really great.
Because it's
very
kind of
refreshing.
unusual with sparkling wines like this to have that sort of that chalky texture
That
to
sort of
it,
chalkiness
which is
to it.
fantastic.
Yeah, you're right.
Have you guys ever had sparkling Blaufränkisch before?
No.
A red, right?
Yeah.
I've had plenty. I love sparkling red wines, but I've not had the Blaufränkisch. I mean, we drink a fair amount of Lambrusco, which is a sparkling red from Italy. And Blaufränkisch is from Germany or Austria, usually a lot of Austria. But if I ever see a sparkling Blaufränkisch, you better believe your toots that I will be picking that up, because that sounds amazing.
What he's going to do,
let me go ask my toots real quick.
Yeah.
when he gets that Blaufränkisch that's sparkling, he's going to spumante all over.
Wow.
What?
Spons.
And cheers, guys. Cheers,
my friend. Yes, thank you very much.
Let's move on to mine.
This is lowbrow wine humor. Okay, let's see here.
All right, so Elyas,
Fully
what did
lowbrow. All right. So I got a
Nice.
cork broke.
Busted. Oh, Jesus. This just blew up on me. That sucked.
By the way, the reason I brought up the Blaufränkisch is because of the fact that it's like that. If you guys like wines from the Mosel, which Chris, to me, it sounds like you don't. If you don't like slaty or too high mineral,
He does.
I'm into it now. It's like my new thing.
The Blaufränkisch sparkling was one of the more interesting things I'd had in a long time, because it has the tannins that you get from red wine plus the that was a great face plus the minerality of the region.
Yeah,
it was pretty spectacular. It had so many different layers on it, just like having something that's, what'd you say, 75% Chenin Blanc?
Yeah, 75% Chenin Blanc, 25% Chardonnay.
I love it. I mean, it's one of my dear friends, John, had who was definitely the life of the party kind of guy. He had a saying, which is, if you walk into a room filled with people and everybody's drinking bubbly, it is impossible to have a bad time. And he's right. It's true. Like there's this balance of the kind of party where everybody starts off with bubbly. It gets everyone in the mood for celebration. But then the other half is, I think Americans feel like bubbly can only be used for celebratory. But guys, at the end of the day, it's still wine. It's a glass of wine. It's 100%, breakfast before you go jogging, everyday wine.
It is. I agree. Yeah. The last time I went to a party with a bunch of sparkling wine. We wore these big masks so nobody knew who we were. We were all anonymous. And then you have to be disrobed, but you wear these robes over the top of it. It's really fun. It's really great.
Was the password Fidelio?
Fidelio.
Yeah.
What is this? It smells awful.
Yeah, it's so this is Gruet. This is Gruet Brut from New Mexico. And this is from a winemaking family from Champagne that moved to New Mexico in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. New Mexico. Yeah. Okay, got it. So they went to New Mexico and they were like, I think we could make wine in this shithole. Let's do this. And
Are
so
they
they,
from, like,
By the way, you
cultured
just
Santa
lost
Fe?
your listener in Albuquerque. That was it. Done. She's gone.
Yeah, I was gonna
I'm
think,
kidding.
is it Santa Fe or is it Albuquerque? Because all the people who live in Albuquerque know it's a shithole. People
Exactly,
in Santa
there
Fe
you go.
are like, hey, it's kind of nice. At least it's not Albuquerque.
No, New Mexico is pretty cool. I've been wanting to go to Meow Wolf, which is an amazing
Meow
museum.
Wolf is interesting. Yeah.
Anyway, so they are making Method Champenoise sparkling wine in New Mexico, and this is just sort of like what I sort of consider this my emergency sparkling wine. Like if I have to get a bottle of sparkling wine and I can't go down to my natural wine shop and I have to run to the supermarket, they're gonna have this. This is not quite as high production as Domaine Chandon, but you're gonna find this everywhere.
Did you call it a method?
Method Champenoise. So I think, Chris,
Method Champenoise?
you could probably you could tell us what the 3 or 4 methods of making sparkling wine are, right?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. It's
go
so
ahead.
easy. It's like
Method 1, method 2.
Yeah.
and
Well, I
method
mean,
3,
so
right, Chris?
I have to tell you, Elyas's heritage comes from Afghanistan, and there's no he has
Racist.
He has the #1 spot in the world for most pretentious person from Afghanistan. It's because I'll tell you right now,
I worked hard to get here.
if you go back like 8 generations, and then you were able to time travel back and be like, yes, the method Champenoise was, they'd like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I don't understand that.
Half a generation back, I think. I mean, so I was just, this is a wine that I was drinking back before I really got into natural wine.
It's interesting.
When I was just sort of drinking, exploring wine and first discovering wine, I like to call it my pre-Annie Sullivan, Helen Keller wine days. When I was, but this is one that I'm still drinking now. Not all the time, but it's a great Method Champenoise bottle, which means that all of the secondary fermentation was done in the bottle, like they do in the Champagne region of France. So the same sort of method. And
obviously, one of those methods. Obviously, that method.
Exactly.
Just like Donnie said, like method 2. Right?
Method 2, right. Well, that's method 1, actually. There's very quickly...
Can you show us the label?
Yeah, here it is.
Because the one that I have is different. You got the brew.
Gruet
Yeah,
brew?
you got the brew. Yeah, and
Uh-huh.
I got the Blanc de Noir.
Oh, you got the Blanc de Noir.
Oh,
So
look at
the Blanc de Noir,
Nice.
there are 2 traditional grape varieties, 3 in the Champagne region that Champagne is made from. Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier. And if it's made from a blend of those, it's just called Brut or whatever. If it's made from only Chardonnay, it's called Blanc de Blanc because the Chardonnay is a white grape, and that's white wine from a white grape. If it's made from Pinot Noir, it's called Blanc de Noir because it's a white wine made from black grape.
I was like, I don't know, Bobby. I'm picking up a sound. It sounds like snoring.
Chris is snoring.
I don't know if that's,
Chris,
is everybody getting that?
Chris is allergic to knowledge. I don't know if anybody knew this.
I'm just allergic to really fucking boring knowledge. Come on. Wait.
Well, some people who are into sparkling wine might find this sort of eye-opening
I
as
was
what
enjoying it, but I
what
still
Blanc de
laughed at
Blanc
the
and Blanc
snoring.
Noir means. Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
I
this
won
is
on both sides there. So.
there you go. But this is from New Mexico. I feel like if you have to walk into a Safeway or whatever and get a bottle of sparkling wine, this is as good of a choice as any. It's
I can just find that Gruet at Safeway? That Gruet?
Yeah.
Gruet?
I'm fairly confident. If not, definitely like a Total Wine.
It's pronounced
or,
Gruet.
It's Gruet because it's a French family.
I can get the Groot.
Yeah.
That Groot stuff.
I am
Groot.
Groot. Yeah,
am
so that's
Cool.
my pick.
Dude.
It's funny that you say that
know-
because this is actually God, what's his name? What's the actor from
Garbage? Oh,
this is Vin Diesel's favorite.
no way.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been told that I look like Vin Diesel.
I'm sorry, who said that?
I just said it to myself.
Oh, okay.
You do look you look like Vin Diesel naked.
I'm Vin Diesel like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like
that's
Vin
I've been
Diesel.
told that I look like Jason Schwartzman, but it's accurately true. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you do. I'm like Vin
Profile.
Diesel. I'm like Vin Diesel after he retires and stops being in movies and drinks really hard to forget and is near death. Then that's me.
And sits around all day saying, "I love Groot. I love Groot," and then drinking.
There you go.
So
That's me.
Yeah, basically. Wow. Well, Bobby, what do you
What are we doing?
What do you think here, buddy? Are we
Well,
going to move on to the next?
the next
section?
bottle. The next bottle that we had was the one that
Etoile.
the Etoile.
Etoile. Jesus, you guys.
Etoile.
Etoile.
All right.
Wow.
Etoile. Oh wow.
I have my Etoile.
It just
Etoile.
gets better as we drink, Donnie.
Oh,
Gets
yeah.
better.
Understood.
There
you
it
go.
is.
Put it right up there.
All right, Bobby,
Oh,
do you
yeah.
see how it has an accent over the first E but not over the last E?
Yeah.
No accent
this
over the
is-
last
this
E,
is
so you
the-
just say Etoile.
This is made by the same producer as the Shandon. Chandon?
Yes.
Shandon? How do you say it?
I think it's Shandong.
It depends. If you do, you guys watch Saturday Night Live?
I have. I've been known to.
I'm sure that my friends at Shandon are going to be very upset about this, but it's so funny. You just need to do a search for it, and it's two women who spend their entire time mispronouncing it differently every single time.
Nice.
Yeah, Mo and Shambin. Yeah, it's great.
I believe
But this is their high end. This is like their.
this is the premier crew, correct?
This is the coup de grace, as it were.
Okay, you got to be muted. Sorry.
That's right. No more French.
Come on.
I don't know enough about the actual production here, but just jumping to this next level of what Shandon does is a great discussion on, between this and the Shandon Brut on how this product is made. And most of it has to do probably with method and hand of maker. So
I'm just staring at Elyas right now because he is such a natural wine,
Dude, I
I'm
love
just
drinking.
staring at him to watch his face because what you described. I really love that idea of a sommelier being not above other people, Elyas, just like an educator.
No.
Elyas.
Yeah.
And also what I really love about that.
That's why I'm not a
concept and that idea-
sommelier.
That's also what I love about that concept is, it's like building a community around this and not separating yourself. It's like,
I just want to point out that being in a community is how you catch disease.
so let's talk about the first part of the factory that this wine is produced in. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was taking the words out of your mouth. I feel like
It's fine.
no. This actually does not. I am surprised by this. It tastes really good. This is the quality on this is good.
It does have, if you could see the bubbles, very tiny, minuscule bubbles that creates a really nice froth in your mouth. I don't know how much Shandong you can put in your mouth, Chris, but I
It's a lot.
could take this whole Shandong personally myself.
we saw what you did there.
Oh, I had no idea that's how it was pronounced. Wow.
But yeah, it
Go
is.
back to your original drawing. I feel like there's a tie-in.
There we go. There's a time for everything. Ooh, nice, Chris. But yeah, this is obviously had some prolonged in bottle fermentation, just because those bubbles are really, really small, and that's one way you can tell when a wine has been bottle conditioned, when a sparkling wine has been bottle conditioned. Is the bubbles are much smaller, and it creates a finer sort of mousse in the glass and in your mouth.
If they're doing that, though, they're not throwing in additional sulfur or whatever afterwards, are they, to kill the process?
Not at bottling, but they'll definitely. So what is first made is a still wine, right? And so then they'll use sulfur in that process to kill all the native yeast, so then they can use their yeast that will give them a consistent product over the number of bottles that they're making. And then when they dosage it, they'll dose it. It'll definitely be, it won't have any of that native yeast going, and they might add a little bit of sulfur, during the still wine process to stabilize it. But then when they dose it, they'll put a little bit of sugar and a little bit of the yeast that they use, in that process, and then it'll go through the process of disgorgement. Once it's conditioned in the bottle, they have the bottles upside down in these machines that sort of shake the bottle gently over a prolonged period of time, and it works that yeast and all that stuff into the neck, and then they freeze it and pop it out, and then top it off with a little bit of wine. So at some point in that process, for a conventional wine, they definitely would be using sulfur, because they want to kill any of the native yeast that could be on the grapes, because that would give them not a consistent product. That's they don't know what that natural yeast is going to do.
I used that same exact method to digest the curry that I ate last night. Flip myself upside down, a slight shaking.
Yeah, nice. You disgorged?
Why does this bottle not have that reductive smell that a lot of your horrible wines smell like?
Bobby, did you just say reductive?
Mm-hmm. Whoa.
Did you just use the word reductive?
I totally used the word reductive.
Holy shit.
It's
Show's
almost
over,
like I
people.
listened to the show.
Show is over.
It's over. It's done. Well, I mean, to be fair, typically I think that sparkling wines, for some reason, don't suffer from that reductive quality as much. But it has to do with the process of winemaking. A lot of those natural wines, like Molly explained, they don't do things like pump over the wine over the cap. When wine is made, there's a cap of must that forms on top of the tank, and it starves the wine of oxygen below it. And in conventional winemaking, there's a pump over process where they pump the wine from the bottom over the cap, and it oxygenates the wine. But a lot of natural winemakers don't do that, because they believe in sort of minimal intervention. So the wine is sort of oxygen starved from the beginning, even before it's bottled. And maybe this wine, I don't know for a fact, but this wine probably didn't go through that sort of process. It went through more of a conventional process. And a lot of these conventional wines, they go through these machines. They're called like micro-oxygenators and stuff. And they will purposefully oxygenate the wine to avoid that sort of a reductive note. So, it has everything to do with just the process of wine. Because the winemaker didn't want that in there, it's not going to be in there for a wine like this, where so much is on the line for, Domaine Chandon creates a particular type of wine that they have a reputation for. They're going to make it consistent over as many bottles as they can.
I've been there. You've
been there? Yeah.
I've been there.
Gorgeous.
Napa Valley, right? Napa.
Yeah, it's in Napa.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I'm like making sure I've been there. Yeah.
They're one of the oldest sparkling winemakers in America. I think they're owned by Louis Vuitton, Moet, Hennessy, whatever. Yeah, but the winery was established in like 1973 or something like that, and so they've been making sparkling wine in Napa since the 70s, and really kind of elevated. They opened a restaurant at the same time that they opened the winery, and like that restaurant and that winery kind of elevated the food and the wine that was being produced in that region from when they opened. And a lot of French people didn't think you could make sparkling wine in America when they opened, and they're like, that's not going to work. And so they definitely have been there for a long time and were pioneers and been making.
That's a
good
weird
sparkling
experience.
wine.
Being like the Napa experience I had was back in, I don't know, like 2005, and it was strange because not a lot of great hotels out there, and I did the whole experience though. French Laundry is there, right?
Yeah, French Laundry is in Yountville.
Yeah, okay, Yountville. Yeah, so we went there. Did 2 full days of touring of wines. I had that's number 2. I have a running list of top 10 hangovers of my life,
it changes every week. Yeah,
it does change a lot actually. And actually, you'll typically. I know Elyas always waits for these text messages because we've known each other for a bit now. But after a particularly good night of hanging out, he can always be certain to get a text message the next day that says
the hangover
effect of this hangover is awesome.
You gotta put the mic right near the glass and then just go, oh my god, I'm never drinking again.
Today's episode is brought to you by PureVPN. Why would I need PureVPN?
PureVPN is a virtual private network, and what you need a VPN for is to mask your IP address, and it prevents ISPs, hackers, or any trespasser from viewing your activity or data.
So why them, though?
They have the best money-back guarantee in the business, 31 days.
31 days?
Yeah.
At 30 days, you can be like, I don't like it anymore, and get your money back. One-click software, literally just install it, click a button, and you're online with your VPN.
I've used VPNs in the past, mainly to unblock content. If you ever try to watch something and it says not available in your region, I use PureVPN to get around that, and it is very easy to use, very simple.
3 million people use this service every single
3 million
day.
people can't be wrong. It's one of those internet tools that you didn't know that you needed, and really almost everyone needs it.
Want to watch Baby Yoda, but you're in Africa? No problem. PureVPN.
Just VPN into America, you pay for your subscription like normal, and you can watch the content.
Nice. If you're listening to this, go to alcoholu.com and click on our banner for PureVPN. So, guys, let's go ahead and do the name game. Chris is going to chat me a few names of wines, and
Yes,
I get to try to pronounce them. And
Chris, I just want to point out how defeated Bobby already sounds.
I'm not going to win this game.
Donnie, don't feel like you can't laugh at Bobby because we're not really laughing with him. We're only laughing directly at him.
We're definitely laughing at him. Yeah.
Okay,
Listen,
Bobby, let's get this.
As the former CEO of a small tech company called E12, I feel like there's
nice.
so much that I can say about
Nicely
the way
played.
he pronounces things. Thank you.
Well done, my friend. Well done. Yes. Okay, Bobby, let's get this one started.
So are you chatting them to me, or are you going to put them up on the screen, or?
I'm going to chat them to you.
All right.
Actually, what would play better, up on the screen or chatting them to you?
Well, our podcast listeners won't get this either way, so we'll just
just
chat
chat it.
I'll just chat them to you. Here you go,
All right.
Bobby. Here's the first one. This one's like we're starting off easy.
We're gonna
we're
lowball.
doing it in Zoom here. Hold on a second. Let me.
Yeah,
open that up.
Zoom chat. There you
Pinot
go.
Gris.
Zoom chat.
Whoa!
Pinot Gris.
He knocked that
is-
one out of the park.
He
Boom.
did. Like Bobby.
One down.
Look at you. So easy, Bobby.
All right.
So easy.
Now is
Okay,
when he's
Bobby.
gonna just totally fuck it up.
No, we're gonna keep it simple still. This one's super easy. This one's a little bit of a tongue twist, not a tongue twister, but this is one's the pronunciation can get a little weird. But let's see what you say.
Muscat.
Muscat. You got that one right.
Pretty good.
Bobby.
Here we go. Drop the bomb.
There you go, Bobby.
I didn't know that was
You do
French.
this one.
Von fromage de Col? De Col? I don't know.
Yes, Bobby, that's right. Vin fromage de cool.
De Col?
I think that's perfect.
Also known as
Cool.
so the this is what I made up. It's just called it's ass wine. Is what I made it up. Ass wine. It's ass.
Good
That's what
job,
Elyas
Chris.
brings every day.
I tried to put those two things
Was
together.
it? I think it's ass cheese.
Okay, let's move on to
Yeah,
a couple
it is
of.
fromage de cool.
There you go.
Let's move on to some sake. Here's the first one.
Jun Mai Shu.
That's right, Junmai Shu. You got that one right. Nice one.
All right, let's do one more, and then we'll move
Hold
on.
on. We got two more. Hold on.
All right.
Go
Chris
ahead, say this
is
one.
going for gold.
Jinzhou Shu.
That's God. You like?
I don't know
crushing
shit
this.
about sake, so
Okay.
This Ween bad shoe.
Something in Japanese, didn't he?
Yeah.
What does this one say?
This Ween bad shoe.
Disween bad shoe. Wow. Okay. Well, Bobby, you scored okay at this.
Yeah, I think you won.
I feel like you won. Actually, I feel like you did really well.
Nice work. I'm gonna deliver your prize personally.
Oh, please.
Yeah, make sure you're wearing.
It's gonna be fromage de cool. Be careful.
That's right. Make sure you're wearing gloves.
Let's go through these bottles really quick and do a recap.
Yay! Yes.
And there he goes. And talk about how much they are and roughly where you can buy them. I guess we've already kind of talked about where you can buy them, but we'll start at the top with the Chandon.
Let's do it. Chateau de Brézy. Oh, sorry, Brézy.
No, the Chandon.
Yeah,
the
Chandon.
So
the Chandon. I mean, typically right now we would be trying the wine to see if it's
cost.
See how it's fared after breathing for a little while.
Well, it's flat by now, so
it's
that
gotten completely
help.
flat in room temperature. So awesome.
No, you got it. You got to put the old stopper on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
so how much is this bottle?
Useful tools that should be included in like every bar kit. I find the Chandon selection, other than a 12, is probably between 13 and 21, just depending. Like sometimes they will do some huge blowout sale. A lot of it has to do with like July 4th or New Year's Eve. Whereas like the Etoile, I think, is in another $15 on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, like you step up into into their actual champagne, like the Moet Chandon.
Mm-hmm.
And that jumps into high 30s to 50, usually around 50ish. Mm-hmm.
So Chris, where did you get your bottle and how much is it?
So the Chateau de Brézy, Crémant.
This is actually a delicious flat wine with all the bubbles gone. It's actually still good. Yeah.
What we often is we shake this one up and then just like off gas everything.
Yeah,
is like best we can. And
you're good at off gassing
in a giant bowl, and then just drink it without the bubbles. Yeah, this is $27. I got
expensive.
It's a little spendy, but what isn't these days?
That's true.
I got it from our friends over at the Corson building.
Oh, nice.
But you can also purchase this. You can find it on Wine Spectator. You can find it across the country at any wine merchant that you might go to that does have things from the Loire Valley.
Fantastic.
And Elyas.
I have to say this Gruet has held up not terrible. Has a nice little like fresh appley smell to it.
I'm gonna just reopen this. Okay.
It's not bad. It's not bad for sort of a mass-produced wine. And I got this from my local sort of upscale Seattle grocery store, Metropolitan Market.
You did?
It's kind of like a cross between a Trader Joe's and a Whole Foods, kind of. But like a Sprouts, something like that.
It's like Sprouts. Yeah. Natural Grocers, Sprouts. Right. It's up on the upper end,
this was only $18. So $18 bottle of Method Champenoise sparkling wine from the U.S.
Dang.
and you can get it pretty much anywhere. That's why I think it's a good like price to value kind of sparkling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's an hour you won't get back. You can learn more about the bottles we tried today at our website, alcoholu.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AYL the Podcast, and continue the discussion with pics, notes, and questions, and we may share them on our next episode. Please share, subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you get your podcasts. We can use all the help we can get. I want to thank Danny Ronen of Shaker and Spoon, where everything they are producing benefits the Bartenders Emergency Assistance Program.
Thank you. Really appreciate having me on the show. It's been a blast.
You can learn more about their offerings at shakerandspoon.com, and be sure to use the code AYL the podcast for a 10% discount on your first box. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Tune in and you may hear Chris say,
"It's the bottle next to the urine."
And Elyas says,
"I am the law."
Our engineering team features the fabulous John Baroker and Adrian Gutierrez of Hereby Sound. Our theme music was composed and performed by Flex Vector. We recorded today's episode in our separate, undisclosed locations. That's it. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Peace be unto you.
I'll Call You Later is brought to you by Pear Shape Productions, copyright 2020.